Good afternoon, class. So today is 6th of October, and we will have to cover the current affairs of today. So the first news is related to the Moody's giving stable ratings to India. Now, please remember, what does Moody's signify? What are the things that Moody's do? These are some of the things we will learn about in this lecture. Now, please remember, let me give you a crude example that will make it more easier for you to understand. So let us assume that basically there are two persons in your village. The one person basically, as you have assumed, has a better capacity to pay back and is also reliable, also truthful. And you also know that sooner or later he is going to find a job from which is going to earn. Right now he is going through some tough phase, but he will recover back. The second person that have asked money from you is basically a person who is a type of a fraud. He does not give money back. He wastes his money in a different kind of bad habits such as drinking, smoking, gambling. So you are very well sure that if you give money to that particular person, there is a chance that this money would never return. So I hope this is clear. There are two human beings. The capacity of one is to give the money back is high. The capacity of another one is to give the money back is very less. Now, different nations, when they operate world level, they take loan from different countries. In that, there is a particular problem with regard to the assessment of a particular country or the capacity of a particular country, that whether that particular country will be able to pay back the money that they have taken. So this is where the Moody's come in. It would be very beneficial for you if there is an organization that tells you that how much capacity this particular country have, you know, in the village. But let's say you have to lend it to some far villages where two persons are also needing the money. So you do not know what is the capacity of theirs. So this is where the Moody's come in. Moody's tell you that what is the capacity of a particular country to pay back the loan that they have taken and how much successful are they going to be with regard to the payment of the loan. Moody's is one such agency, and please remember, last year Moody's have basically provided the prospects of India to negative and we were in the Baa3 grade. So Moody's ने अलग-अलग तरह के grades जो हैं they have divided. So for example, there are A-rated bonds, there are A-rated countries, there are B-rated countries, there are double B positive countries, there are triple B negative countries. These are some of the countries that are existing according to the rating in the world. So India is currently rated at Baa3. तो अब इसके डिटेल में मत जाइए. Ratings we will discuss later, but I hope you understood the basic funda. The basic funda is to rate the countries on the basis of their capacity to pay back. So in that they have still been rated as the lowest investment grade, but the opportunities with regard to the growth of India are also high. They have said that India is bound to grow by 9.3% in the nominal growth rate. That is from last year to this year, we will grow by 9.3%, and in fiscal year 23, we will grow by 7.9%. So that is also a substantial amount of growth that we are going to see. Now, please remember why they have given positive prospects for India, because actually they have given from negative prospects to the stable prospect. Negative prospects were basically indicating that the company is going to be in slump for another major year. But right now the company is stabilizing itself, and that is all thanks to the coronavirus vaccination that have started, or the COVID vaccination that have started, and that have provided a type of a headway to the other agencies that this can be done and this can be provided. I hope this is clear. The next one is the Nobel Prize for Physics. So it has been provided for the climate models and the understanding of the physical systems, and also with regard to the disorder and the fluctuation in the physical system. One important thing to know here, if you want to make notes of the Nobel Prizes, because every year Nobel Prizes are asked here and there, so you can make a particular separate notes of Nobel Prizes and also list the names of the individual who have gotten it and what kind of work that they have done. Okay? These are very hot topics for HPPSC, and you will see, I think, one or two questions that are related to the Nobel Prizes in the examination. So prepare well. The Nobel Prizes, we will directly see some questions in the examination related to the Nobel Prizes. तो इन सब के नाम जो हैं you should remember and you should work on it. ठीक है? तो इसको ध्यान रखिएगा. The next is related to people paid for treatment despite Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. I hope you remember there is a Ayushman Bharat program. Under Ayushman Bharat program, there is a program called as Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. There are two programs under Ayushman Bharat program. One is the Health and Wellness Center Infrastructure Improvement, in which the sub-centers that are available at the local level will be upgraded with the doctors so that they could be functioning as the health and wellness center for the particular community. The second is the Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. In that, there is a particular kind of insurance that is being provided to a particular family, and up to 5 lakh rupees treatment for tertiary and secondary care. If any ailments are there, the expenses will be paid by the government, even if the treatment is being done in any of the private hospitals or the government hospitals. But it must be listed out that the hospital should be empaneled, that is recognized by the government. Only in those hospitals you can basically go and basically seek the treatment. So there are different packages that are being announced by the Ayushman Bharat program. And in the Ayushman Bharat program, all the programs which are mentioned, if there are some form of treatment that you require, you can go to the hospital and you can seek the treatment. Now, further moving on, what is the problem here? There is a survey that has been conducted in the 4 states, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Kerala, and it has been found that majority of the people during the COVID times have basically, when they were hospitalized for the COVID, as the government have already declared that any person can use the Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana basically to seek assistance in the government and the private hospitals, and the government will fund it. But even if it is there, the majority of the survey have said that the major expenses were borne out of the pocket of the individual. So that is a problem with regard to the application or the implementation of the Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. So that is what you need to understand. ठीक है, तो इस बात को ध्यान रखिएगा. The next one is the RBI microfinance proposals that are anti-poor. Now this is written on the economics basis. I understand you still face problem with economics, but let me give you a very crude example that will basically help you in understanding how the RBI microfinance basically works. Now, if you want to buy a car, what you will do, you will go to the bank, you will take a loan, and then you will pay back the money in the amount of installments that has been fixated by your bank. I hope this is clear. Let's say you do not want to go to bank, you want to go to some microfinance institute or institution that will lend you money because it is easier and without collateral. Or let's say there is a person in your village who is running a scheme. He says that you can take money from me, let's say 20 lakh rupees, and in that 20 lakh rupees, this is the amount of money you will pay me every month. Okay, for the 3 years. That is what they will say. Now, please remember, microfinance institution is type of a credit lending agency, just like banks, but they are more flexible in their approach and less regulations were imposed on them, as the RBI basically have asked them to support the local entrepreneurs, local people, and even the self-help groups that are run in the villages. Okay, जैसे युवक मंडल ये सब चीजें जो हैं, they can seek the loan from those particular microfinance institutions. Now, what have happened here? Reserve Bank of India have basically said, and there is a paper that have come up after a consultation. There was a committee that was formulated on Malagam, is the name of the committee, Malagam Committee. And Malagam Committee was basically constituted so that the microfinance sector could be given a boost, and the social inclusion or the financial inclusion of the individuals who are still left out of the main banking stream services should be able to take money and should be able to basically take the loan from these microfinance institutions. Now, please remember, the one suggestion that this particular committee have given and the Reserve Bank of India is basically eager to implement is to remove the ceiling of the highest interest rate that the private entities in the microfinance institutions can fix. So, for example, let's say there is a right now, I think you probably remember that the auto car loans are basically at 8% per annum. Now, as these 8% per annum, we are seeing the microfinance loan that are existing over there. Why are they not at 12%? Because Reserve Bank of India has said कि आप इससे ज़्यादा नहीं कर सकते. You have to link the interest rate, whatever I suggest you. But in the case of microfinance institution, what the government or Reserve Bank of India basically intends to do, they basically want to give a direct way to the NBFC's microfinance institutions so that they could fix their own charges and fix their own interest rate on the higher side. Now, please remember, poor people who do not have any collateral to give, it is very difficult for them to basically get the loan from the bank, but it is easy for them to basically get benefit from the poor marginalized sections, and that is basically hard to or these people basically find it very hard to get loan from any other institution. So they are not taking loans from big infrastructure projects, not taking loan for businesses. They are taking loan for just survival and the construction of the houses and the other things that are there. Now, please remember, interest rates were already high under the microfinance institutions. They were charging somewhere between 22% to 26% of the total money. That is the effective cost that the individual pay. Now, please remember, effective cost and the actual cost or the interest rates are all those different things. So, for example, if you take a 100 rupee loan and you pay back 122, that is the effective cost. But as we calculate on the interest rate would be hardly at about 4 to 5%. Okay? But it is a compounded interest. So you will take a small installment of 20 rupees, but on 80 rupees, you will again have to pay the 20% interest. Whatever the remaining amount, that will be adding up again and again. Okay? So that is how the interest rate generally works. So with regard to that, it says that leaders, basically there are being violations from the microfinance institutions also, that is basically harassing the common people in the villages. Two things that are needed to be seen. First is why the poor people are taking interests or the loans from these microfinance institutions who are charging such humongous prices. The one reason that has been suggested is that they have no other option because other people will not basically lend them money, and it has been justified on the part that if there is a risk that is higher, the interest rate should be higher. Just for example, previously I gave you example about two individuals, their paying back capacity. तो आप जो पहले इंडिविजुअल को इंटरेस्ट रेट देंगे, you will be asking him कि चलिए आप 100 रुपए ले जाइए और उसके बदले मुझे 110 रुपए आप दीजिएगा. But as you know, the other person is a fraud into gambling, into drinking and all other activities. What you will say to him? You will say to him that you take away 100 rupees from me and give me back 130 rupees because the risk is high, therefore the reward should also be high. So that is the justification that is basically given by the microfinance institutions when they basically lend some of their money to the people who are from the poor background. And apart from that, Madhura Swaminathan believes that the Reserve Bank of India regulations or the amendment that it is going to do will certainly burden the poor people with more interest rate, and they will be living a life of a debt for eternity and no solution with regard to the problems of addressing the specific challenges of the poor people is being generated. They should not be allowed basically to act in a manner that will basically exploit the poor people, and they should be protected from any type of financial mismanagement or you can say regulations that are casted against them. So these are some of the things that are needed to be taken care of. Okay, इसको ध्यान रखिएगा. Next one, with AUKUS, India must keep its head above water. Now, please remember why it have said so. I hope you remember there is Australia, UK, US who have formed a strategic alliance in which there is a strategic agenda to basically share the submarines between the nations, and it is basically targeted at a particular country, that is China. So Australia, Japan and USA feels that India is not going to be basically very very accommodated to the theory of making Quad into a military alliance. So please understand the situation. If I tell you in common language, China जो है that is the target. So US, UK and Australia, not Japan, and Australia have come together. They have said that Australia is going to be the net security provider in the Indo-Pacific region if China try to intrude into any of the localities. And in that they have also said, please remember there are certain levels to the domestic politics and the military corporation. When it comes to information sharing, when it comes to providing logistics supply, when it comes to providing military equipments, these are some of the basic things. But when you are eager to basically share the submarines with other nation, that is the highest level of cooperation basically you can expect from any country. And with regard to this particular UK, US and Australia, this particular cooperation is happening and India has stayed away from it. India have its reason. We will talk about what are the reasons. But first of all, please try to understand that that is the nuclear power attack submarine that will be lent to Australia. That will be a direct threat to China, and China is basically going to react sharply to this. We will again have to see how they are going to react to this. And even if the things happen directly or indirectly, both will have implication for India, because India is more closer to these three countries as comparison to the countries that are located in our localities. So there will be direct implication of anything that happened in the world with regard to the land border that India shares with China. Now, please remember, right now there is a tussle between the two major military suppliers of the world. One is China, one is USA. Now, USA have said that they see Australia as the net security provider. Now, why they are taking this particular step? Because they believe that Quad, according to the reluctance of India, is never going to be engaging on the military front. Although India have also dissented with regard to changing the status of the Quad into military alliance. So they do not want to act it as a Asian NATO and also a threat to any of the nation who will feel intimidated or do not want to contain. But then Australia and USA are basically very keen to contain China. So what they have said, they have created another organization. Now, please remember, when we talk about this, Jai Shankar have already, the External Affairs Minister of ours, have already made it clear, and the Chief of our Air Force Staff has also made it clear. They have said that when it comes to Quad, the military dimension, if it is applied to it, India is the only country that shares the land border, and who will come and hold your hand when there is a dispute with regard to China? None of the Quad countries share border with China, so they are better safe. But India have to protect whole of the border, and we very well know that India does not have the capacity to basically stand up to whole of the army of China along the northern border. So we have to be very vigilant with regard to the decisions that we are going to make. The second one is, Jai Shankar have also said that we are talking about cooperation. We are not talking about any threat to any nation because of any alliance that we are getting into. So we do not basically want to extend the regional cooperation or the inter-regional cooperation in the form of Quad into military alliance that is direct threat to our neighbors. We will not engage in something like that. Now, please remember, India and Quad is definitely going to be backfiring against India, because we have already seen our experiences with Afghanistan. In Afghanistan, there have been a possibility that we were dependent on other nations for ensuring peace in Afghanistan, and we very well know in which situation we are right now. So it is absolutely clear that to own interest, if it comes to own interest, we have to protect our own. We cannot rely on anybody, and we can only stick to whatever we are doing and whatever we are basically getting powerful from inside. Okay? You cannot rely on other countries for the security of the nation. The Indian security have to come from within. Okay? So I hope this is clear. The next one is the challenge of going back to the school. Now, very simple and nicely written article by Sajita Bashir. Please make notes of it. What is her problem with the guidelines of the reopening school? She says that when majority of the schools are reopening, the one thing that they all have in common is with regard to the discussions of the school opening, they are only talking about two things. They are talking about sanitation and the health of the children, because that is most important. However, Sajita Bashir basically is of the opinion that the opportunity, reach and accessibility are some of the things that we should be focusing upon. What are the steps that we are needed to be taken? First of all, you should ensure equity. Secondly, you should start a special drive for the enrollment, because you do not know how many migrant children or how many people have opted out of the school and now are working in some restaurant or basically working as a child labor in some places that is basically keeping their needs in a or basically trying to stay afloat. After that, there is social and emotional development that is basically of prime importance. There is extended learning time that is needed to be provided to the children, because 1.5 years is a very long time, and whatever the children have learned in the last class, they are definitely tend to basically unlearn that. Other than that, there is training and support for the teachers so that they very well know that how to handle the situation when they once again have to keep an eye on every children, that whether they are coping up with the things or not. Other than that, there is problem with regard to the India situation, in which the spending in the education sector as a part of the GDP तो जो स्पेंडिंग हम पहले एजुकेशन पे सरकार करती थी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, दैट हैव एक्चुअली रिड्यूस्ड. हाउएवर द डेवलप्ड नेशंस हैव बेसिकली इंक्रीज्ड इट, and the developed nations were basically of the opinion that more money is basically needed to provide extra training to the teachers, extra resources to the students, so that there is a need or there will be a capability of that particular student to basically learn everything that was disrupted last year due to the COVID virus. Other than that, there are specific major challenges that are currently existing in India. If we talk about these are migrant population children, we do not know the correct data of the migrant population children. We do not know how many have opted out of the school. There are difficulties in ways to locate them, how to provide them facilities. There is also problem with regard to the private schools, because majority of the children have either shifted from the private school to the government schools, or from the government schools to the working age population or the working children population. Now, please remember, if the private schools are basically working on the incentives that they are getting from the children, so if there is a threshold limit, if they breach that threshold limit, they will not be able to survive in the market. And if they will not be able to survive in the market, the whole situation of the deterioration of the education will expedite. So we also have to take care of the individuals who have basically in the private institutions and have been existing for some years now, to provide them some form of learning, extra training, teaching, targeting, and even focusing upon the proficiency at learning languages, because as they move on to higher classes, English has become more prominent as compared to the other subjects, because it is the language that will teach you in English and what kind of things that will be talked about it. Okay, so I hope this is clear. The next one is the MET on the mat. So this is the Metropolitan Police of London. Now, please remember, Metropolitan Police of London is basically accused of not able to control the crimes against women. And secondly, there was a police officer over there who have been basically charged with the crimes of arresting a woman, raping her, and then burning her alive. And please remember, right now this particular Metropolitan Police is headed by a woman. Now, allwhere in the world, the police is not trusted for civilized and lawful behavior. That is the similar thing that happened in India. So R.K. Raghavan have taken the cue from the things that are happening in United Kingdom, in a developed nation. But the situation of the police is both in same the cases. Why we are not able to change it? Why the police cannot act in a civilized and a lawful behavior? Why they are always accused of doing some harsh crimes, as highlighted by the Chief Justice of India, that the custodial violence and the other kind of violence that police are committed, they are needed to be held accountable for, and what kind of things that they have done. Now, with regard to that, some people are responsible for this image, not all the people. First of all, let's make it clear. The second major reason is the political executive uses of the police department to basically settle the score. Now, when we talk about the CGI, the statement that have been made by the CGI, they have said that the police department needed to be held accountable for the committed crimes in the custody of the police, or the crimes that they have been committing outside the common premises in the common public. Now, please remember, there is a punishment that is imposed on the police, but you should remember there is a whole culture of ethics that is needed to be changed, and that is needed to be provided for the better functioning of the police department. Now, please remember, innovation is needed. Still, India has been working for innovation so that we should be more sensitive. Gender sensitiveness is basically included into the police station. We have you can say Mahila desk that is currently, she desk that is currently present at all the police stations, so that they do not feel. We should also engage with the children. They should be felt warmth and other things with regard to the crimes that have been committed against them. People should be more sensitive, or the gender sensitization should be in the people. There should be better reporting and better existing of the relationships. Okay. So a common communication for a civilized police, because the police is there to help us, they are there to protect us, but still they are being accused of uncivilized and rough behavior with the individual that they are arresting. So that has been the case here. ठीक है, तो इन्होंने ये सब चीजें जो है इस बारे में कही हैं. Next one is the Denmark Prime Minister arriving on Saturday. Please remember two important things. This is a country with which we have a green strategic partnership last year, which was enacted, and there is a energy island at the Gulf of Mannar of coast of Tamil Nadu that is going to be inaugurated It consists of 4 to 10 gigawatt of wind power that will be existing over there, and we will be talking about the investments in renewables कि आप renewable energy में invest करिए, आप renewable energy को supply करिए, carbon emissions को control करिए at COP26 जो अभी यूनाइटेड नेशन का होगा. So these are some of the things that they are generally basically debating about. ठीक है, तो इस बात को ध्यान रखिएगा. The next one is the must look at the weakness and the strength of 13th Amendment. So Rajapaksa basically have said that these are some of the things that are needed to be taken care of. Now, please remember, 13th Amendment is basically related to yesterday. I have also told you a slight information about 13th Amendment. 13th Amendment basically related to the provincial autonomy to all the people, specifically to the northern part of Sri Lanka. That is where the majority of the Tamilian people live. The second one is the elected government or the candidate or a timely election needed to be held so that a representation is needed to be provided to them. Now, please remember there have been serious or major issues between India and Sri Lanka with regard to the operations and with regard to the other relations, but the intention from either side of the countries have shown that the damage which has already been caused between the two countries should be left behind, and there should be a cooperation between the two countries with regard to the future relationships. So the multiple issues involve the unilateral cancellation of the West Container Terminal that was developed jointly and financed by India and Japan. तो एक कंटेनर पोर्ट टर्मिनल था. कंटेनर पोर्ट टर्मिनल is the same terminal where the ships come in, and in those particular ships the loading and unloading starts working. So there was a container terminal that was allotted to India, West Container Terminal. But over the time what happened, Sri Lanka, because of the domestic pressures, and some people say that it was also pressure from China, cancelled the deal with India and Japan, which is a joint deal with India and Japan, and they basically allotted it to Chinese authorities. Now, Colombo basically wishes to iron out differences that we will not basically want to go with the same proposals, and they basically wanted, there is a fishing issue between the two countries also, there is Gulf of Mannar between the two nations. एक बार इस लोकेशन को देखिएगा, Gulf of Mannar कहाँ पे है, और एक चीज और सर्च करिएगा, which is called as sea cow and why it is only found in Gulf of Mannar. ठीक है, sea cow एक बार सर्च करिएगा, समुद्र की गाय को एक बार सर्च करिएगा, you will find it located in Gulf of Mannar and the things that are located in Gulf of Mannar. Now this is an Indian Ocean 1971 proposal that is to be declared as a peace zone. So Colombo wishes to iron out differences, and there is a entrusted of basically different kind of trust management, you can say नेगोशिएशंस बिटवीन द टू नेशंस. ठीक है, तो इसके रिगार्डिंग इंडिया श्रीलंका रिलेशंस के बारे में किसी और लेक्चर में पढ़ेंगे इन डिटेल, बट फॉर नाउ यू जस्ट ओनली हैव टू रिमेंबर दिस. ओके, द नेक्स्ट वन इज द ऑनलाइन सिस्टम फॉर एविएशन सेफ्टी. सो दिस इज विद रिगार्ड टू द पोस्टल एंड द ईमेल, एंड दिस इज अ स्टेट सेफ्टी प्रोग्राम रिपोर्टिंग टू फैसिलिटेट कलेक्शन ऑफ द इंफॉर्मेशन एंड ऑल अदर एक्टिविटीज. ठीक है, सो यू कैन वॉलंटियर इफ देर इज अ थ्रेट. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ हाई plants or trees are existing, you can report it through email and other part to basically to the aviation authority, and they will take care of it with regard to communication with the local authorities. The next one is the service PMI first hiring since November. So the service purchasing manager index, that is the service sector, for the very first time have shown a expansion, and for the very first time over the last 1 year they have hired some people. Until now they were basically shedding the people from their companies, but they have hired for the very first time in the 18th month from the last year. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Now these are the microfinance institutions we were talking about in the article earlier. I hope you remember, under credit guarantee scheme they are reeling under high pressure. So what they have asked from Reserve Bank of India कि आप हमें 7500 crore की जो है मदद करिए, वरना we will not be able to operate on our functions. क्योंकि जो हमारे सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप्स हैं, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल अगर आप गांव में जाएंगे तो देयर आर सम वुमेन हु हैव कम टुगेदर, दे हैव फॉर्म्ड अ सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप, और सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप इज बेसिकली नीडिंग मनी फॉर एनी टाइप ऑफ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर एक्टिविटी दैट दे वांट टू कंडक्ट. मान लीजिए जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल अगर हम एचपी की बात करें तो देयर इज अ एप्पल सीजन दैट इज करंटली गोइंग ऑन. सो इन द एप्पल सीजन बेसिकली इफ वी सी there will be self-help groups who need storage facility, cold storage, transportation, packaging. So उसके लिए वो लोन कहाँ से लेंगे? Microfinance institution से. Once the microfinance institution will give them loan, these will basically extend it to them at a cheaper prices, because self-help groups are basically mandated by the RBI to basically provide them loans at a very nominal rate. तो उसके कारण microfinance institutions or the self-help groups, because of the COVID virus, are not able to basically pay back the money. So they have suffered a lot, and in that suffering, basically the microfinance institution have asked from Reserve Bank of India and the government to basically grant them 7500 crore credit guarantee scheme, कि जब हम लोन एक्सटेंड करें तो आप हमें गारंटी दीजिए कि अगर हमारा लोन वापस ना भी आए तब भी 7500 करोड़ तक जो लोन हम एक्सटेंड करेंगे वो प्रोटेक्टेड रहेगा सरकार की जिम्मेवारी से. ठीक है, तो आई होप दिस इज क्लियर. सो दैट इज इट फॉर टुडे आई थिंक. ओके, सो ब्लिंकन मीट मैक्रोन टू पेयर ऑक्यूस डैमेज, ये इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है. बस फ्रांस के जो राष्ट्रपति थे उन्होंने कहा कि आपने हमें नहीं बताया, आपने इतना बड़ा अलायंस कर लिया और हमें आपने इंक्लूड नहीं करा. तो ही वॉज द वन पर्सन हु सेड सो. सो आई थिंक दैट इज इट फॉर टुडे. तो अभी के लिए इतना ही करते हैं, फिर नेक्स्ट लेक्चर में यहीं से आगे पढ़ेंगे. ठीक है.